Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a video. Actually, I think it's been months. But I've taken this time to level up my character, and I would like to share some things that I've learned. It's so beautiful. The sun has almost already gone down by the time I climbed up here. So I'm just gonna enjoy the sunsets for a bit, and I'll get right back into the video. So let's get right into it. So there are three main things that you need to be able to get to the point where you want to be, to become the person you want to be. And these three things are going to have to work together. And when you develop these three things, you will automatically improve and move towards your goal. So what are these three things? First, I'll name them, and then I'll go in a little bit more detail. So, the first thing is attention. Yes, the most important thing is attention, because most people don't know that they're in a prison of some sort. And when you're not aware of what is going on within you, it's very easy to repeat patterns that have been programmed within you and that you have reinforced unconsciously. Second thing is a goal. You have to know where you're going, right? If you have Google Maps or some sort of GPS, and if you don't put a coordinate in the end goal, where you want to go, you will be aimlessly just taking side streets. Maybe you'll be on the main street for a little bit, but you won't know where to go. So you need to know where you're going. The third thing is a positive attitude. So I'll get into that later. So let's get first into attention. So attention is awareness. They're both synonymous. And awareness just is. If I told you to pay attention to your breathing, or if I said you're now breathing manually, your awareness would now go to your breath, and you would be thinking about your in-breath and your out-breath. That's what awareness is. It's that one thing that just is, and it gets directed into many things. And what happens for most people is that the awareness is scattered across. Our awareness is focused on external factors. You give those external factors meaning. You give those external factors purpose. So what you have to understand that everything that you see outside of yourself is a simulation. And I know a lot of people have many different associations with the word simulation. But let's break it down. What does it mean? Okay, a simulation is a sort of matrix. And I'm not talking about the Matrix where, Neo is stopping bullets. I'm talking about a sequence of information. And this information, when it's broken down to the smallest part, is a form of vibration. So when we look at light, I'll put some examples here. So when we look at light, you'll see that there's a bunch of spectrum of different vibrations of light, photons. And this is what we call color, right? But this color is only an interpretation of our mind. Now, it's the same with hearing. When we look at audible things, they're also just puffs of air, just vibrations, right? So everything that you experience around you is some form of energy. And what your mind does is it takes that energy, that particular vibration of frequency, and it translates it into some meaning, into some version of understanding. And what you're doing is, with your attention, you're putting meaning into these different vibrations. Even a thought is a form of vibration, right? If you look here, there's different brain patterns from, theta, beta, alpha. There's like different kinds of brain waves, right? And these brain waves are also vibration. So what you're doing is that you're putting your attention on some particular vibration, and that's what attention is. Now, when your attention is scattered, you're taking all this information from the external, and you're not actually understanding and interpreting correctly. You're interpreting it in such a way where you believe it to be whatever somebody told you to be, right? The only reason we call red red is because we just agreed to it. But what red really is just a certain frequency of light vibration. So, now that you understand this, how do you train your attention? Well, you train your attention by will. That's one of your higher faculties that you have. And will is just something that you train. I mean, when you're doing, let's say, 20 push-ups, and let's say at 15 you're really tired, but you got to push out those 5, you're using your will. Maybe you're convincing yourself somehow, but you're using your will to do those 5 extra push-ups, right? And that's the same thing that you have to do with your attention. So when you're putting your will on the attention and staying aware, what you're doing is you're redirecting that attention to the internal. Because remember, everything that you see outside of you, everything external, is just a reflection of the internal. So when you stop putting your attention on the external and stop identifying with it, and you bring your attention within, you start noticing the thoughts, you start noticing the patterns, you start noticing the ideas that you have, you start noticing the identifications. When you bring your attention inwards, suddenly you're open to a world of symbolism, of meaning, and you realize that you're the one responsible for the experiences that you're having. If that experience is negative, if that experience is positive, you're responsible. And I know it's a lot to take in, because you're like, well, I'm not responsible for that thing happening to me. But, there's a lot of things that supposedly I thought was negative in the past that I experienced. When I look back in them, I realized that I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't experience what I'm experiencing right now if those things didn't happen. So now I've taken that same experience and I flipped it from a negative to a positive. Let's get into the second thing. Goals. This is your tracker, your GPS. Now that you have attention, you can set a destination. What is your goal? I want you to do something for me, please. If you don't do this, none of this matters. I want you to write this goal down in the present tense, because that is how your brain understands things. It does not understand in the future. When you say, I will get good at playing the guitar, that's somewhere in the future. But your brain only lives now, because there is only now. When you're thinking of the future, you're only thinking of the future right now. When you're thinking to the past, you're only thinking to the past right now. So when you put, I'm going to learn the guitar, you're putting that idea somewhere in the future. And your brain doesn't understand that, so it's never going to take the action. So what you want to do, you want to imagine yourself as if you already achieved the goal. So write down the goal that you want to achieve. Let's say if you want to be the best guitar player in your country, just random example. I want you to write that I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm the best guitar player in my country. And then build the image. Build the image. Use your imagination, which is one of your best faculties. It's the divine connection between yourself and God. And I want you to use it to the fullest, because your imagination is infinite, as is God. That is the direct translation from God to yourself. He gave you this ability to imagine and to create. So what I want you to do is you write out a story. Let's keep using this guitar example. Say, I'm standing in front of 5,000 people playing this guitar phenomenally. Be creative. Put things in the present tense, because that's how your brain understands them. Don't put them somewhere in the future. You'll never do it, because you keep putting in the future, and it's 5 years later. And guess what? 5 years later is still gonna happen, whether you do it or not. So, if you wanna achieve something, plant a seed in your mind in the present tense. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm the best guitar player in my country, and I'm playing in front of 5,000 people. Repeat that to yourself. You'll be amazed. Don't take my word for it. Try it. 28 days, every day, say it to yourself. See what happens. I dare you. Now the third thing I want to talk about is positive mindset. You know, realism is something that pessimists came up with because they were scared. Okay? Being positive has no negative side effects. I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? People will say, oh, but you're delusional. Well, weren't the Wright brothers a little bit delusional, thinking that they can create flying objects and they can fly in the sky? Wasn't the person who invented the light bulb a bit delusional? Wasn't Newton a little bit delusional when he came up with gravity? People will always hate on you because they don't understand. They don't understand the principles, the laws of God, of nature, the way that things are set up. You can either be aligned or not. Because remember, it's all just energy. It's just pure energy. And you are responsible for filtering that energy. You can filter it in the negative sense, and you can filter it in the positive sense. It's your choice. I very, very much suggest that you use it positively. Because there is a thing in your brain called the reticular activation system. What does that mean? RAS is a part in your brain that is responsible for separating information that is useful and information that is useless. Right? So if I tell you, think of a red car, and you go outside and walk around your town, suddenly you'll start noticing all the red cars. That's RAS. You understand that you have this part in your brain that's always filtering information. So imagine if you're only focusing on positive things. If you're only focusing on opportunities. If you're only focusing on how to better yourself, on how to become more healthy. How to improve your life. As if you already have it. What do you think is going to happen? Your brain will start looking for them. That's what's going to happen. It's that simple. That's why you should be positive. Because if you're going to have this goal in your mind, And you're gonna stay positive. That's what faith is, right? What did it say? If your faith is as small as a mustard seed, you'll tell that mountain to move, it will move. Nothing is impossible. Because it's the doubts and the self-limitations that keep us from achieving the things that we want. Our own attachment to the simulation, to the external. We look at things and say, oh, this thing happened, so it's all bad. Or that thing happened, so I can't do that. Or we make excuses. Like, I'll give you an example from my life, right? I have a laptop, I have a computer and I have a laptop. And I was thinking, well, I don't really want to go out and, work, because I want to change my environment. And I was like thinking, oh, my laptop's really bad, and it's just excuses. But I went out and my productivity was 5x'd. And my laptop's actually not that bad for doing basic, document work. But it's just something that I put in my mind because I didn't want to change the pattern. I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone. But guess what? I did it anyway. And boom, 5-10x my productivity. I was full focused on whatever work I was doing. So, yeah, keep your attention at all times. Have a goal in mind and repeat it to yourself all the time. And focus on positivity. Be grateful. Don't say, I have to do this. Say, I get to do this. That instantly puts you in a gratitude vibration. That puts you in a state of gratitude. That puts you in a state of positivity. I didn't have to come here. I get to come here to watch this beautiful sunset. I have working limbs, I have legs, arms. I'm able to do whatever I want. In the same way, I don't have to work. I get to work. There's people who are stuck in places that they don't like. And they keep saying, I have to do this, I have to do this. No, you get to do this. Because there's some people who are slaves, for example. They don't have a choice. And only when you reframe your mind and you turn your mind into the positive direction, then you can start changing things. And you realize that you'll become grateful for the things you have. And suddenly, you'll start expanding. And you'll start moving towards your goal. You'll find time, you'll find opportunities will come. People will come into your life. You don't understand. Everything is connected. But it's up to you. It's up to you to change your life. Because no one's coming to save you. You have to do these things yourself. You have to think about these things. You have to keep awareness on the positivity, on the goals. Right. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful, the life that we get to enjoy. Just realize that this experience that you're having right now is just a reflection of your internal state. So when you turn inwards and when you notice these patterns, when you notice these negative self-talks, when you notice these limitations that you put upon yourself, you'll be able to remove them, reject them. Because that's one of the things you can do. You can accept or reject. And when you reject the negativity and accept the positivity, wonderful things will start happening. Just try it. I dare you. All right, bye.